Okay, so let's now talk about how to actually zero or put the tool in the right place to start the job. The first thing you want to check is that this is not in view mode, and it's not because that little LED is not on. So that we're happy with that. Now let's go back to the software, and if you remember from the previous video, we're talking about here an X-min and a Y-min. So basically these values translate onto the X-min, so this is the X-axis, and then this is the Y-axis. So you're going to want to hit, you see my board right there, we're going to want to start probably at the bottom left corner of this board so that we use, we use as little of this board as is necessary for our design. So I'm going to try and want to hit this point. I'm going to try and guess what number that is. This is going to be a kind of a bit of a guesswork. It's fine, because it's only going to move the tool. So let's start with 100 and then let's say 35. I think would be a good guess. You click the move X min Y min, and the tool then moves to the correct position. I don't know if you can see. And here, this should explain to you why you want to make sure that this tool, the tool sits nice and high, so that when it moves like this, it actually doesn't cut the end of the bit off when you're moving. So what we can see here is that 100 was a little bit overestimated. So let's try and do like maybe 60, and then less. In terms of Y, I don't know if you can see it here from this point of view, but this is a little short, so we're going to go a little bit higher on Y and less on X. So let's try 55 and 40 on the move. Let's see where it moves. Okay, that was X a little bit underestimated, so let's go maybe 60, see how that works. Now that's just shy, so let's just do 62 and move. And now this is actually a video, we're now on about the right size. So what we're going to want to do is now lower the bit in the right place. And this is kind of a bit more complicated, or a little bit more involved. So if you look at the gap that there is here between the end of the tool the end of the head and the bottom here, you want to leave some gap here, because you can't have this touch the bottom here. However, we can lower that a little bit more, and we're going to do that using the down button. I'm going to press that. It's going to make a little bit of noise. Okay, and here, I'd be comfortable with that kind of gap, maybe. So, however, you can see the tool is still not touching the surface here, and that's what we want. We want to start with a tool that touches the surface. Now, this is where we adjust it using the Allen key again, and just unscrew these two set screws a little bit, just a little bit, a quarter, and let the tool drop. You see that? Drop onto the surface. Once it's down onto the surface, you hold it down with one finger, and then set the screw, again, finger tight, not more, and then turn it around, and always holding the thing to avoid the tool going back up while you set it. You're going to tighten that again. Now, we know that that's hitting the surface, and it's nice and tight up here. I mean, obviously finger tight. And we're at the right height because we still have some travel on the Z-axis so that it can still go down, which was a Z that we set to minus 0.12. We want to be able to let it do that. So that's fine. And then here we're touching here the edge. So now you're all set, and we can probably start the job.